Okay, so this tutorial I'm going to talk about HTML tables with Elementor. This post here in the Facebook community for Elementor prompted me to do this. I've been wanting to do this tutorial for a little while. A lot of people, when you want to add a table to WordPress or to Elementor, look for a plugin. And there are some great plugins. One mentioned here is TablePress, which is great, Ultimate Add-ons. It's also got some great table builders. They generally use the Elementor settings, so you'll have a repeater, and you might set a start of a row, some headers, end of the row, start of another row, content, end of the row. And for a big table, it starts getting really, really slow and sluggish to edit. So my view is if you only want a really simple table, just use HTML. And I'm going to show you how simple that actually is. So we head back over to a test page that I've got that I'm working on. This is just a blank page on just a dev site I use for mucking around. And I'm just going to grab a HTML widget. I'm going to stick that inside my container, which for some reason it's not dragging into the container. I've actually got the containers enabled, the flex containers, and there's a bit of work to do on those. Dragging and dropping into them just doesn't work very well. Actually, there's already one in there. Sorry, I'm just going to delete that. Delete this extra container. So with the HTML, it can show up as not having any width or height. So I've actually got an empty HTML container there. So if I'm going to start a table inside this container, what I would do is start with an opening tag of table. I would then make a T head, which is the table head. And in here, I'm going to put my headers. So I'm going to create a row, which is TR for table row. I'm going to put a header. So TH is a header cell. I'm going to call this column 1. I'm going to add another header, which is another TH, or column 2. Oops. Okay, so that's our head done for now, and we'll style this up a little bit later. So then we want to actually create a body. So go to T body. And here we're going to put our rows. So I'm going to do a TR for our first row. And I'm going to put a TD, which is table data. So a TH is a table header cell, and the TD is a table data cell. Simple as that. So I'm going to put in a value 1. Maybe we'll call this action 1. So TD, action. Okay, so now we've got a single row with a header up here, and we've got a single row. I'm just going to copy, so I'm just going to do a Control-C to copy that row, put it into there, maybe another row. And then if you want, you can actually add a footer as well. So we could add a table footer, so T-foot, TF. And in the table footer, we might put another TR, table row. And we'll just use a header TH for that. Don't have to. This could be a div. This could be anything inside that. Sorry, it's got to be a TD or a TH inside that cell. But what we're going to do in this case, because we've got 2 columns here, it's showing in the footer we've only actually got 1 cell. So we can actually tell that to spread across 2 columns by putting colspan equals 2. So you can see now this is actually expanded across 2 columns. And we'll just put in here a footer message. Footer message. There's our footer. All right, pretty straightforward so far. If you want to size this, we can just go into our width and make it custom and set the width. Yeah, maybe use the percentage maybe. Set it to 58%, whatever you want to do. So this could be centered. I'm actually just using container. I'm not going to go into the alignment, just actually the creation of the table just here. So here's our table. Now I'm not liking the look of these headers, the TH being default aligned to the center of the column. So how are we going to fix that? All we have to do is give our table an ID. So we'll give it an ID of test table. I'm going to create some style in this HTML widget. You can also just give this an ID, and then you can go to your, if you like, go to your custom CSS and add your CSS there. In this case, I'm just going to add it in here so it's easy for us to see. I'm just going to add a style element. And then in there, I'm going to reference my table. So IDs are referenced with a hash. So test table. Typing. Test table. And let's target the header, so the T head. And then the TH is inside there. Actually, let's make the T head first. We'll make the background of that dark. So let's make the background color. Make it, say, a hash 333. Make it a dark gray. Okay. Let's grab that again. We want to target the TH elements. Sorry, the autocomplete's doing something odd for me here. Okay. So we're targeting the TH, sorry, the T head, and then the TH is within that. I'm going to make them text align to the left, and we're going to make the color. Maybe just make it white, whatever color you want. Okay, so now we've told it we want the T head to be a dark gray. We want the T head THs to be left aligned, and we want it to be white. So now we've just styled up our header. Now let's have a look at the footer. So we go test table, footer, T foot. Make the background color on that. I know, we'll make it a maybe a light color. We'll make it say I don't know, CC, FF, so it's got a bit of green, a bit of blue actually. So just change that color there, get this color from wherever you want. So we've actually colored our footer. So just by using these styles here, we can color that. Now, it's really easy, as you can see, to edit these values, to add new rows, to edit your footers, to edit your headers without using all these fancy repeaters and whatnot. And the repeaters, I think, when you get a lot of rows, start getting very, very messy. So the other way you can use these is, again, you could take all this, take it out of here, and you can stick it into the advanced custom CSS. I like doing it here because it's actually easier to manage with the table. I'm going to show you one other thing here. I'm going to copy all of that, and I'm going to add just a text editor. All right, so we've got a text editor here. If I go to my text there, text tab, and I paste that in there, I've got exactly the same thing. So this HTML can be inside a text editor, it can be inside an HTML element, can be wherever you like. It's the same code, it's just HTML markup. So it's much, much easier to manage. So I could easily, in this text editor, for example, let's say I want to put something at the top of that. Actually, we'll go back to here, easier. Only thing is with the text editor, you lose all your formatting when you go between visual and text. So let's put a heading H3 table in text. Here we go. So we can H3. So it's one text editor box. But we've got our markup in here, which has got our H3, and it's got our table there. And you can actually edit this table from here as well. Once you've got the rows in there, there is a plugin I believe you can install for this editor, which will actually let you edit these tables and add rows and columns from within this text editor. I prefer to just do it from here. My honest preference is to use the HTML widget, because then you get all of the code highlighting and the formatting, so it actually looks right. So there you go. That's an easy way to create and manage tables. Okay, so another really cool option is using Rockerblocks repeater fields. You can probably do this with ACF as well. I love JetEngine, so I use that whenever I can. I'm going to head over to another example tutorial I just created for someone the other day, where it's got a table here which is auto-filled from what is called repeater items, and we created some JavaScript so we can change the portions and update the amounts as we change the portions. So to show you how this works for tables, if we go to our JetEngine post types, I've created a recipe post type. And in that recipe, I've got an ingredients per portion meta field, which is a repeater. So each item has a name, amount, and units. So in the recipe, if I have a look at the recipe and edit that, what I end up with is this repeater where I've got chicken pieces 2 units each, eggs units 1 units each, coconut cream 100 grams. So this is just a post that you create, a custom post. You put all these details into this repeater here, and then on this page here, it actually pulls that into a table. So if we look at the template for that, so I'm going to edit the recipe single post template. And let's have a look at the container. That's the featured image. There's the dynamic repeater. So with JetEngine, you get a dynamic repeater. A dynamic repeater, you just drag that in. Okay. Now my source is my ingredients per portion. So that's the repeater that I set over here. My source is the ingredients per portion. What I'm telling it is let's move down past this item format. So we want each item, so each one of these to be a table row. So I'm telling that there that it's a table row. We're going to set up our header, which is our table, just the same as the markup we did for the standard HTML widget. Table head, we've got a TR, table row, table head for the name and the amount, the units, close off the table head, open the body, and then we want to close the body and close the table. Okay, that's pretty much is the before and the after. And then the format is we're using again, it's each one of these is a table row, the table data cell, and we're pulling out the name, which is the name there. The amount, which is the amount here, and the units, which is the units here. And all I've done on that's only difference with this table cell here is I've given it a class as repeater amount. We're using that for the JavaScript. You could also give this a class so you could style that differently. So you might want that particularly, let's have a look at this again. We view this particular one. We might want the units cell to be in green. So if we give those TDs on the units, over here, if we gave that TD on the units, the class equals unit cell or unit TD, we can then style that in our styles. Let's actually do that here. So this is another really cool way of making the tables. If I go now to my advanced and my custom CSS, I can style up this table if I want to. So let's have a look at that. So let's say we want the headers to be left aligned. We'll do the same as what we did before, but in this case, we're going to use the selector keyword. Now, if you're using Pro, selector means this widget. So whatever you put in here is only going to apply to this widget. So if we do selector T head, and let's make that color, or background color, We'll make it the 333 like we did before with the other one. And we want to then do the selector T head TH of text align left and color. Oh, Australian spelling there. Color as white or FFF, whichever you like to, however you like to put that. And let's go back to this content here and say I wanted the unit TDs to be a different color. So let's have a look at that. I'll go back to my advanced, the selector, T body, and because this is a class, we have to put a dot before it. So IDs have a hash before them or a pound, whatever you like to call it. Classes have a dot. HTML elements don't have a hash or a dot. They're just the actual element. So we want to call that unit TD, and we want to make the color, make that green. One of the better things. Okay, so we've done that. Now I'll update this here. Now that changed, but this didn't. Why didn't that change? Let's have a quick look at our markup. This TD, it looks like I hadn't saved the I've got the one of the quotation marks there. Messed up my class. Take that. Okay, now our units are green. So it's pretty cool. So you can mark up the HTML manually by hand as we did over here for example, in an HTML widget, mark it up by hand. If you have JetEngine and you want to pull this from posts, so you create a post type, a JetEngine post type. We create one called recipes. We've put a repeater in there. So we've told it's ingredients per portion. This field is a repeater. We've added some repeater values in here so that when we edit the post, which would be the recipe, edit that. Get all our standard meta fields, plus we get these repeater fields. So we can just add another one here. And as you add them, this will automatically update that table and you end up with the table rendered from the values that you put into your post. So there's many ways you can do this. Keep it simple with just pure HTML markup, or if you've got JetEngine and you want to pull this from a post type, create a custom post type or add post meta. So I'm not going to go through JetEngine. Yeah. All right, so hopefully that is helpful.